the self-supremacy, but now the host. The host of the CredeCast. The supremacy is now before you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CredeCast. This is your host, the Reverend of the Ring, the self-supremacy, the one and only Everett Creed. And tonight is a very interesting night on the CredeCast because my guest is somebody who has yet to ever appear on the CredeCast. He is also the man that has called me out for Best in the Yard 2. He is the Anarchist. He is the Blackout. He is...
Every stitch represents the soul, a son of someone you know.
Aaron Jones. Aaron, before I begin with this edition of the CredeCast, because I could see where this is going to already begin, I actually want to do something that I have never done before in my entire backyard wrestling career. And to be quite honest, Aaron, I'm not going to lie, this is not easy for me to do, but I actually owe you an apology. See, last night, a lot of things were said on Half and Half. A lot of things that I didn't mean, and a lot of things that I'm sure you may not have meant, or and the hosts as well. And I could see that the two co-hosts of Half and Half gave you a rough time on that show, and emotions got the best out of both of us. And I made I guess a threat. I don't know what people want to call it, but I don't want people to take that heavily into consideration. This actually would not be the first time, to be dead honest, that people would take my emotional distress that I release on a webcam or any promo or anything that I've ever done in the right manner. So, Aaron, that's why I did invite you on the CredeCast here tonight, is because I feel you didn't get a true opportunity to discuss your career, to discuss your life and the best of stories and maybe the worst of stories, whatever you want to on a podcast. So, Aaron, if you would, I would honestly like for you to not only accept my apology, but also if you would like to actually be a legitimate member, or even, for tonight, the special guest of the CredeCast.
I want to start this off. Yes, I fully accept your apology, Everett. Things got hit last night, and for those of you who came on here and expecting me to shoot on Big Time Mike or Cameron Jackson, I don't have a problem with them. I don't have heat with them. They did things to, well, let's just say make things better for them, and I'm okay with everything that happened. And yes, I accept to be here on the CredeCast tonight. It's actually an honor of mine, something I wanted to do for a very long time. So I say let's get all that junk out the way and let's start this show.
Absolutely. If you do hear the commotion going on in the background, I guess this could be our first story of the night. We have
that's what Big Time Mike sounds like when Big Time Princess yells at him.
That's about right. And that's what
I digress, but
now the doorbell just rung twice. So with that. There is the infamous shut up that REF says that reminds me of Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Now, this person has yet to answer the door. I guess some people are downstairs are not aware of the doorbell ringing. And that's what caused this. So what a way to start off the CredeCast, huh?
Amen. An apology and Big Time Mike yelling.
Yeah. So And the worst part is the dog barks, and that's what sets people off the edge. So I'm just hoping it isn't Shakur Shakavelli, because every time, for some reason, he always comes at the worst times. I don't understand what it is. Aaron, let me explain. Whenever either my parents are arguing, or I'm hanging out with Angelique Stark, or maybe in this situation, for some reason, that is always the time that Shakur Shakavelli will always show up to my house. And it's never any like warning or anything like that. It's just like, oh, here. And it's like,
it doesn't he have something to do with the NFL draft tonight?
Oh God. Oh, that might even actually, you know what? Let's go mobile. I'm about to see who's if it's
who's at the door.
If it's a certain SUV, which it is not. Okay. Whew. All right, it's not Shakur Shakavelli. We're good. Okay. So let's actually begin here on the CredeCast. Aaron, let's discuss, how did the origins of the character Aaron Jones really begin?
The character of Aaron Jones is obviously just an amped up version of myself. I'm a normal everyday guy, and so is my character. You look at my character, and you can see hints of like yourself in it. You'll be like, man, he's just like me. There's nothing special about him. Look at me. I'm short and I'm fat. People connect with me, and the origins of the actual character came when I started watching VTW, and I originally came in as a heel, but the original Aaron's character, believe it or not, was from New York. And, you got to give me a second to explain that. Tyler Storm, at the time Tyler Aiken, said that he had signed a new talent that he found in New York. Now, up to this point, Tyler had not heard me talk in like 3 or 4 years. And if you listen to the way I talk, obviously, I don't sound like I'm from New York. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink water.
Coffee.
But came to the character itself. I never wanted to be something that you saw on TV. I never wanted to be something that people could say, oh, look, that's so-and-so's gimmick. No, I wanted to be myself. And honestly, that's what I've been for, 3 years and 4 or 5 months. 5 months.
Right. That's really different. I would not expect you, of anyone in BYW, to actually have a character that comes from the Empire State, specifically, the accent, which is the cause of a very interesting story to come on later on tonight. Now, I'm going to fast forward a little bit, and now all of a sudden it looks like people from outside are starting to become a part of VTW. Mainly, this is where CCW comes in the picture, and this is when Drew was still in CCW, Drew Hood, and he would come up along with JC Brown, Joseph Everhart. How did that impact VTW in your eyes?
How did that what VTW in my eyes?
Impact.
How did that impact VTW? Wow. At that time, CCW was honestly, I would say, maybe the second company in this community. And, we were still trying to get our names out there. And I remember just thinking, wow, this is going to help us a lot. And the way it impacted us was incredible, because it didn't impact us as it helped us get subscribers or anything. It helped us when it came to, the passion of the wrestling match itself. And you can look at this with any crossover, honestly. When it comes to a crossover, I feel like people put even more into it, because they're trying to prove, I am better than your company. Like come best in the yard when, I proved that VTW is better than Everett Creed. But whatever. But the way CCW impacted us the most is to never really give up on what we stood for, and to always prove that every time we went out there with 110%.
There is a now think I'm watching the comments, and we're getting a couple of questions here, and it's actually pretty interesting. First question is from Sandy McNabb. This is our first Sandy McNabb. I'm not sure. I hate being that guy, but that could be both a guy and a girl's name. So first time watching the CredeCast. Awesome to have you aboard. I have a question. When do you? The question's part of the most. Okay. What is the most brutal chair shot you have ever received?
To be honest, I haven't really taken that many chair shots. Now I've given most brutal chair shot.
Maybe if anything, a foreign object of any kind.
I know that I know in the I had a street fight lumberjack match with JC Brown at Christmas Cast 2014. And I know he did something to me onto a chair, and that was probably the worst thing I'd taken with a chair. But you would not think this, but when it comes to weapons, you go back to myself versus Dirty to Chico in a no holds barred type matchup for Vindication episode 6 in the pouring rain.
Oh,
and
yeah, that's.
I'm on the ground. And he takes a 2x4 and sticks it on the inside of my leg on the right side and then pulls it through and it's coming out to the left side. And he takes it and he wrenches my leg with this 2x4 in between his leg. And it might honestly be the most painful thing I've ever taken in backyard wrestling, period. That or at Christmas Chaos this year, I had a last man standing match with Dustin Plague. Excuse me. And he did a frog splash off of a ladder to me while I was covered in pie pans and a sign and a bunch of other things. And that right there was very, very painful. And I know people say, okay, you're on a trampoline, blah, blah, blah. It still hurts. You know, people don't understand that. And now Dustin Plague got it worse because his dick got imprinted in a pie pan. But those are honestly the two worst things I've taken.
I just received a comment that's not in the comment section.
Okay.
We have a viewer here on the CredeCast, Angelique Stark, and she's heard a lot of my stories, especially when I came down to Reunion. And she's watching. She says, "Oh, his voice, is very interesting." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's the guy I was talking about, with the whole Boone thing." And instantly, her first comment is, "No way, the man, the mystery, the legend," all capitals. So that's Angelique Stark for you.
Well, that's a lot. So thank you.
Now, next question comes from Ecstatic of VTW, somebody you know very well.
Oh God, yes, Ecstatic. I know. We need to learn about standards. Next question.
It's actually not. It's actually interesting.
No, continue.
My question is, what are Aaron's thoughts? Angelique Stark with the shout out. What are Aaron Jones' thoughts on Joe Cool, who has hashtag no standards?
See, this is where I'm gonna not be in character very well. Joe Cool is someone who was taken as a joke for a very long time and did not get what the character deserved. And honestly, the character development that Joe Cool has taken and the things that, the man behind the mask has been able to do with that character, to me, has just blown it out of the water. We never had a secondary character ever be as big as Joe Cool is. And we never planned for Joe Cool to be big or anything. It was legitimately overnight. Joe Cool became a success with JHI. And I'll give him that. It's what he's done is obviously inspired a couple of other people's, secondaries to maybe get the build up. But in character, I hate that dirty son of a bitch, and I'm going to break his arm. So,
Joe Cool, to me, I mean, like you said about the coming at the price of certain other characters, he's wrecked the Reunion Rumble. I mean, he literally tore the Rumble apart.
Which is something no one ever expected.
Nobody ever expected. Nobody's ever done anything like that before. And then come WrestleCon, he gets in the head of Litz and targets Litz and gives Litz the first time tasting his own medicine. With
also something no one's ever been able to do.
See if we get. Oh, you were saying? I think you cut out for a second.
Sorry about that. I was like, he's also the first person to be able to get in Lip's head.
The first person that has ever been able to get in Lip's head, and also constructed a team that was able to. I'm not going to really talk too much about that right now because I'll talk about that later on in the show. But Joe Cool is definitely somebody to no longer take lightly, and more so.
No.
Cameron Jackson may have to watch out because Joe Cool could walk out of Hell's Vacancy with the UW World Heavyweight Championship and make CJE and turn it into JHI. Now, Sandy McNair, also it's a guy's name short for Xander. Okay, thank you very much for clarifying that. Thoughts for both of you on WWE and making Joe NXT champion in a non-tele... Oh, Samoa Joe. Okay, WWE making Samoa Joe NXT champion in a non-televised event. Well, if I may, I mean, I think it's based really off of the fact that I think Finn Balor got injured, but I'm not 100% sure on that. What do you think, Aaron?
First off, if you get back and look at the history of Samoa Joe, I understand why they did it in the building that they did it. That was the building where he also won the TNA World Heavyweight Championship for the first time. And so obviously he had history in that building that they won't bring up, but that's a special place for Samoa Joe probably. But I think honestly, maybe Finn Balor is injured or just can't do something right now. And obviously they needed to take the title off of him. And to me, I don't think that was ever anything, Vince would have done on the main roster. To me, that was something that had to have been done in like NXT where, if you go to a house show, you never expect the title to change. So you're like, oh, look at the title match. So automatically you're like, okay, this guy's going to win. For the fans in that crowd, though, to me, it's like none of them expected Samoa Joe to win that title.
Nobody.
And when he did, it was just a huge surprise. And to me, that gives NXT a lot more buzz because they've done something that hasn't been done in a long time.
Very long time.
I think the last time they did it was like 2008. I think
Miz and
the Intercontinental or the U.S. changed.
Miz and Morrison won the tag titles.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Now let's fast forward a little bit. Let's go to Mayhem of 2015, I believe. And you were, if I'm correct, in a tag team match with Merrick. And you took on the team of Drew Hood and Mephisto. And at the time, they were known as the Establishment. Now, there's the brightness. I remember I had to turn it down for college. So that was actually the first legitimate match that I saw you in, and I have to say it was really interesting seeing that because it really looked like you and Merrick had the opportunity to take the W, but then all of a sudden Mephisto gets his hands dirty. Drew Hood, at the time being, cashes in the VTW briefcase on what was your YouTube championship. How would you describe that tag team match and in all your rivalry with DH and HD?
I'll go with the match first and the rivalry. To me, that match was something different from what we'd done. To that point, I don't think, if so, we've only ever had like a Tornado tag team match. It was something a lot different. And at the time, the two of the bigger rivalries going into Mania was myself and Drew and Merrick and Mephisto. And around that point, Merrick was one of my favorite characters, and I was happy to really get to work with him. And to me, I don't think people expected Drew Hood to cash in the briefcase during that tag match. But obviously, it was the smartest possible thing he could have done because exactly what happened. He didn't have to pin me to even win the title at that point. He just had to win the match. And he pinned Merrick. Just fantastic kill for him, honestly.
Isn't that
my rivalry with Drew? What?
You're still here.
Okay.
Yeah. Just okay.
My rivalry with Drew, been my favorite rivalry I've been in. To me, the first time I wrestled Drew, it isn't on VTW's like show or anything like one-on-one. Our first match actually got refilmed because it was so bad. We had the Armageddon Death match, and it was horrible. And luckily, Drew was nice enough. He came back the next week. We refilmed it and had the 2 out of 3 falls. When Drew Hood became a quote-unquote free agent and we signed him, immediately he said he wanted to work with me. And to me, that was something just fantastic because I'd followed Drew's career. He had joined the establishment, who at that point I'd been rivaling with for like 6 months. So me and Drew's rivalry lasted around 4 months, and honestly, the most fun I've had in a rivalry. And obviously, Drew did things that he knew would get under my skin, and I did things that got under his. And then we went on to VTW Mania and put on, in my opinion, and not everybody's, there's 3 other guys on the roster who don't agree with me, put on the match of the night with Drew Hood.
Mm.
And that's nothing against the VTW title match that went on right after it. Obviously, that's, in my opinion, my greatest match. And what me and Drew did at VTW Mania, if I could use the word magical when it comes to a match, that's probably the match I'm going to have to, say it with.
Yeah.
And hey, it was the debut of the Boone Salt.
There you go. And now, and I still got to talk about the Best in the Yard crossover before we get to Boone. So,
exactly.
I mean, that match, and I got to, with all due respect, I mean, the triple threat was incredible between Zach Daniels, Tyler Storm, and Ecstatic, but I have to agree that you and Drew, to me, was the match of the night. You guys just tore the house down, and not to mention that's coming off of Best in the Yard where you were victorious against Kevin Shaw in a ladder match, and Drew Hood coming off of a big match with Big Time Mike. So you guys had a lot of momentum, the both of you, going into Mania. So now Mania taking place, going to rewind a little bit to the first ever crossover. This is the one that nobody thought would ever take place, and this is Best in the Yard. Now, all of a sudden, it's around, I'd say, 9 o'clock in the morning. You get the call about a half hour away, 2 hours, 1 hour, 30 minute, 15, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, we're here.
Oh, it was a total countdown for when they were getting there.
It was like the Y2J clock. Yeah. Just, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you see is a car, old Shirley pulling up, and you see Cam's hand, Dirty DeChico's hand, my hand, and Corey Graves' hand, and we're doing this to Cameron Jackson's theme song. What was going through your mind when that car pulled up?
Well, see, I had similar things like that with the CCW guys too, but people thought, when we said it was going to happen, it was going to happen. With Best in the Yard, no one thought it was going to happen, and not saying anything bad about the other guy didn't happen that people said weren't going to happen. So I understand why people say it's not going to happen, and honestly, I did not believe that you were coming. Even when Corey Graves in the car, I was like, okay, these dumbasses just stayed in Altoona. And obviously that wasn't the case. And I saw the hands popping, and immediately in the car was myself, Tyler Storm, Zach Daniels, and I want to say Ecstatic.
Well, no, I think wrong. Zach Daniels wasn't there the first day. I think it was you, Ecstatic, and Tyler, and then Zach came the next day. Yep. Okay.
So we're in that, really bad piece of shit Ford that Tyler drives. And like I say, they pull in and they don't even get in a parking place. They legitimately just stop in the middle of where the people drive to go through the drive-through. And the 2 cars are blocking the way for 5 minutes. And I remember I got out and I went up to Everett and I hugged him. And the first thing I thought of was, this guy's wearing a John Cena T-shirt, and not only a John Cena, the glow in the dark John Cena T-shirt.
Yep, I still got it. I still got it in the closet.
Then Corey got out, and I gave him a hug. Antonio got out, and I realized how big this guy was. And
huge.
Hugging DeChico is like hugging a bear, just like
a grizzly bear.
A tree and shoot out of it.
Yep.
And then I gave Cam a hug, and what I expected was a normal hug, or just like a quick, how you doing? Cam grabbed me in a bear hug and no lie, at least a foot off the ground. Like, he was excited. And, we go from the wonderful Burger King where we meet everyone, go down to the good old VTW arena, and about, 2 hours later, here comes Big Time Mike in the Big Time rental and decides, I'm going to drop an elbow on this. Yeah, a little time rental. And who knows? And all of a sudden, what does he do? He decides, I'm going to drop an elbow on some gravel, and he cuts his damn leg open.
Yeah.
But honestly, and I'm legitimately happy right now, because that was honestly one of, if not the best moments, not just of backyard wrestling, but in my life, for the fact of we proved a lot of people wrong that day.
Yeah. That was one of, if not
the... Sadly, the American Dream passed away June, and then Best in the Art was June 13th. So we had to do it for Dusty.
We had to do it for the American Dream, and that was what a I mean, I was thinking of everything that was going on that weekend, and I just thought Dusty's definitely looking down and smiling. That's the way I thought about it. I'm thinking right away, Dusty, he's looking down and he's smiling. And at the same time, I would say that Kevin Dunn is looking up and he's smiling, if you get what I'm saying. Now, now the question, I can't make jokes like that because I might get a job, and if he sees this, I'm screwed. So now I had a question from Angelique Stark. She was asking me the last time we were hanging out, and I was telling her about some stuff, and then we bumped into DeChico, and he cut his elbow. She asks me, and I think you can, clarify this. Define I dropped an elbow.
You completely cut.
I cut out? All right.
I didn't hear anything you said after Angelique.
All right. So Angelique Stark was her question that she asked me earlier this week that we can settle in the CredeCast is defining the term dropping an elbow.
The term dropping an elbow is what I do. There's only a couple people in backyard wrestling who I would say elbow drops are scary. One being Big Time Mike, because obviously I think Mike thinks he's a cruiserweight, and he's not. Dirty DeChico, when he decides to jump about 6 foot up in the air and come down with the point of his elbow on your sternum, and you decide, let me turn during the second one so he elbows you straight in the rib. And I have to give this one to myself. And I'll never forget, during the reunion rumble, Everett Creed's laying out in the ring, and the first thing I do is I'm like, well, initiation time. And I dropped the elbow, and Everett said, what exactly did you say? I remember.
It was the lung blower. It knocked the wind out of me because, and you'll see in the shot, you drop the elbow, and like you said, Mike kind of jumps on you and he hits you here, like in this area, and that's where Big Time Mike will, go on you because he kind of goes, oh. DeChico will cut you here and just bang. You come with all this, and you just
all of it.
You don't even drop an elbow; you drop a tricep, and and right on the diaphragm, and you see me immediately get it like, and then I go back down. And there was a lot of tension there because I was in the Rumble, and I think I was one of the few guys, if not the only guy left, that was not on the current on the VTW roster.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, but let's not ask Cameron Jackson about that.
oh boy, yeah, that was fun. I'm not gonna lie, I had a great time when Cam got eliminated. So he
You
tried
gotta
to
get
take me
out.
I'm
You
like,
gotta get out.
you gotta get out. Minute 30. So as
More like
long as
42 seconds. Like, come on.
oh man, so I so that all went down, and I remember going back at Best in the Yard, seeing you and Kevin open up the show, and because the first match that was filmed was you and Kevin, and that was awesome because he comes out first and crowd's going, and then you come out and everybody doing the awesome entrance, and that's the question I'm going to get to. Actually, you know what? Before I get to that, there is another couple of questions on the comments. From Sandy McNabb to Aaron Jones. Who is the funniest guy to work with?
Funniest guy to work with. Wow. Joe Cole. He's actually hilarious to be in the ring with. But other than Joe, there's a certain match called I hate to bring this up, but the Cooter and Denny Memorial Battle Royal.
Oh boy.
Honestly, the biggest regret of my life. I had my good cousin Jub in there, and everything about that was funny. But when it was a specific person, I would say either Joe Cole or Cooter Jefferson. I was in a segment with Cooter Jefferson once, and damn near shit myself. And I was a heel at the time. I was a heel and had to, completely, try to stay in character.
Okay, now it's going to get good. I just learned a little tool here on the CredeCast, and I'm going to be able to actually utilize this on this very edition of the CredeCast. So without further ado, I'm going to get some footage here. And I definitely got to ask you some questions about this because, well, not a lot of people have witnessed this, so I kind of want them to see it for their own eyes. So without further ado, and this is actually relating to J Joker 13's question as well. So without further ado, I'm going to play this roll of footage here. I'm going to do a quick screen share. And, well, all I could say is enjoy the footage.
Oh, my God.
And due to the report that Avery Hope just gave, you better go down to the Piggly Wiggly where they have a sale on bread and milk because you aren't getting out of your house tomorrow.
Take two.
This just in because of Weatherman Avery Hope's forecast. You need to go down to the Piggly Wiggly and buy yourself some bread.
Okay, now, all right. Now, with that being said, this is going to be.
Can I go back to what I said earlier? The Cooter and Denny Memorial Battle Royal is not my biggest regret. The BYW news is my biggest regret.
My question is,
we
what's
filmed for an hour.
Oh boy! Now, where is the Piggly Wiggly located?
The Piggly Wiggly is a store down here in the South. It's like Food Line or, Market Basket. Or if y'all even have Market Baskets, I don't know. It's like Food Line. It's just a grocery store. They're more around like the beach down here and a little bit lower south. But like I said, it's a grocery store. And obviously, Southerners think if it rains or if it snows, you got to go down to your local grocery store and buy every piece of bread and milk you can possibly buy. Or, you'll die because you got to have your milk sandwiches or whatever they call it.
Yeah. Oh boy. So now this is another good question by Sandy McNabb. Biggest spot monkey that you've ever faced?
Ooh, biggest spot monkey.
I think I know the answer to this. No, I don't actually. I was gonna say there was somebody, but I don't think you've had.
I'm not gonna say in the actual match I had with him, but I know during one point Drew Hood was really big on spots because I know he had a tag team match and rode out the entire match, and it was on a cell phone sitting on the steps, and when somebody got there, I had to go look at the cell phone. But I know I'm not a big guy on spots. I might come up with a couple, but
Yeah.
I think come best in the yard, I'm going to be wrestling somebody who's kind of a spot monkey.
Well, I mean, now as far as who I've wrestled, who I feel has really been calling a lot of spots and thinking of strategizing a lot of spots, believe it or not, Jason Walker, he had a whole formula, a whole like to-do list of spots, and I'm like, and I'm playing another guy, if you know what I mean, and you know, I'm just like, okay. So I was very like, okay. I mean, well, I could try to remember all this, but I can't guarantee. So other than that, I can't really say too much. Now, this is a good question with this. Sandy McNabb, Zach Daniels, and they say to both me and you, who do you guys look up to the most in the backyard locker room? So I guess it's not just VTW, but BYW as well.
In the backyard locker room, God, if it was like wrestling in general, I could answer this a whole lot easier. And you know, if y'all want that question, ask it. But in backyard, once again, I'm gonna bring the guy's name up. I've always went to Drew Hood for a lot of things. Drew Hood knows my style very well, so if I need help with something, he's constantly there for it. I've talked to Zach Daniels about that kind of stuff, but one of the biggest people I look up to, like I say, is obviously Drew. Cam. Cam's a big part of that. Lately, Everett has been somebody I've went to a lot. You know, whether it's just, hey, do you like this T-shirt design, or you know, just asking anything about wrestling. I don't really have any specific one person that I, you know, look to as God. Yeah.
If I had to pick who I could really say, I mean, you know, everything as far as the animosity amongst the, I guess you could say, the three of us that have been going on the past few weeks, if not months. Aaron Jones, Corey Graves, two guys that I really kind of look up to is Dirty the Chico and Big Time Mike, because
Dirty
Mike is definitely, as far as the crossover matters, he's definitely a locker room leader. If there's anybody that's a locker room leader in the UWE, it's Dirty the Chico. I've always said he's the Undertaker of our locker room because he never made himself, I'm the lock. It's just that everybody knew and everybody agreed he's the locker room leader. He's the guy that always gets people in the shed. He always he gets people to get to do what they got to do, but he also knows how to have a good time. And that's the thing about Dirty the Chico that I completely respect him for. So that answers with locker room leader in UW. Who would you say now is the locker room leader of VTW? If there is one.
Honestly, I don't really see us having much of a leader. But if I can go to the point of if something's happened in VTW and we're all mad, or something didn't work out and we're all kind of bummed, the one person who will come in that room and have to say one word to make everything better is good old boss man, Avery. You know, we could be having the worst day ever, and Avery could come down there and be like, boys, it's going to rain today, and boom. All of a sudden, your day's great.
With that being said, it's time for the PWL. Now, this is a segment of the show, the CredeCast, where I'm going to name three superstars. And Aaron Jones, my guest here tonight, is going to have to pick out of these three superstars who he wants to cut a promo with, being the P, who he wants to defeat with the W, and who he'd have to be defeated by, as in the L. So pretty much you got to pick who do you want to cut a promo with, who do you want to go over against, and who do you want to put over. Aaron, do you understand the rules of how this goes?
I don't know if you asked Mike from last night. My redneck brain can't comprehend stuff within the next 2.5 months, but I think I got it.
All right. With that, being said, let PWL begin. Your first round of 3 superstars is going to be the new breed of the UWE. Revan, Jason Atlas, and Ustalo. Begin.
Promo with Revan. Put over Jason Atlas. And I'm sorry to Mr. Firecrotch Ustalo, but I got to defeat him just to prove a point.
And that point is that, if you
and
guys...
that point is not to steal my finisher when a certain black toad tells you to.
With that being said, all right, next round of PWL. Let's go with the holder of the VTW briefcase, Merrick. APW's Shavarticus Jackson. And UWE's Freak Show Lips. Merrick, Shavarticus, Lips.
Promo with Lips, just for the fact of he's a really good promo. I'd give Merrick the victory over myself because, honestly, to me, he's underutilized and underrated.
Okay.
And I would defeat Shavarticus because it takes him 27 minutes to hit a curb stomp off of a ladder.
And TOP does not let me hear the end of it. Anyway, wait till Hell's Vacancy. Now, and I'll discuss Hell's Vacancy in a little bit. All right, next round. Let's spice it up a little bit. Okay, we have VTW's VTW boss man Avery Hoke.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have UWE's gunslinger Dirty DeChico. And we're going to have one half of the host that you have been a part of last night, Big Time Mike.
God. This one's probably the hardest one you give me so far. Avery, I got to give him the win. A lot of people don't see it as this, but one of my favorite rivalries I ever had was with Avery. And no lie, this rivalry was 9 months long.
Yeah.
And honestly, I had some of the funnest matches I've ever had with Avery. I'd put over Avery. Then it was Mike and who else?
Mike and Dirty DeChico.
Oh, Dirty DeChico. Since I don't want cigarette smoke blowing in my face, I think I'm going to have to do the promo with Mike. I already get enough secondhand smoke from my sister. That means I have to beat Dirty again, which I do. I think I'm going to have to put 2 people over. I'm changing the rules.
All right. Oh, cutting out a little bit.
No, what was the last thing I said then?
Breaking the rules with putting 2 people over.
Oh, okay, then that was the last thing I said, so let's continue.
All right. Quick break on the PWL real quick. Now, this is a great question by Sandy McNabb. Now, here's something which I hope brings up funny memories. Have you guys ever had to go to a wrestler's court? That's a great question. For those that do not know, wrestler's court is when a wrestler gets brought up with charges and they gotta pay the times. And what happens is that he literally has to go up in front of a BYW locker room and he has to defend his case. There's usually a judge in the situation and there's a prosecutor. Judge more than likely is going to be Dirty DeChico, and the prosecutor depends on the situation. It could be Jason Walker. It could be Cameron Jackson. It could be just about anybody. But Aaron, have you ever had to deal with a wrestler's court?
Not exactly. We've had instances where we've had to bring stuff up to people and they've had their punishment, and obviously that happens everywhere. It's happened to me. It's probably happened to everybody in VTW. But an actual wrestler's court, though, no. But hey, if I see one happening, how you doing, ecstasy? I feel like that might happen.
Yeah, there you go.
Joseph Everhart about had to go through one at the Reunion Rumble.
Oh boy.
But good old Ab
Yeah,
Blue
he
done
would
dealt
have
with that.
definitely been to a wrestler's court. He would have definitely had to have been to a wrestler's court.
Yeah, but other than that, no, I haven't. But I would never say never that it will not happen, though.
Now the next question is a little bit of a more depressing topic. Sandy with another good question. Thoughts on Wicked J's passing?
Oh man, if I could just be honest with you, I started watching ESW about a year and a half ago, and it was when CHW really started sucking because I was always a bigger fan of theirs. I don't know what it was, but I started watching ESW with commentary, which is where they watch their old stuff, and then Alex G and OSG commentated over it. And I really enjoyed it. And there were a couple people who stood out to me. And the very first one was Wicked J, good old Benjamin Garza, him and Conductor. Because Conductor always reminded me of Diablo. But
yeah, that's okay. I could see that.
Yeah. And to me, Wicked J, hearing what he was as a person, to me, it's probably the most tragic loss Backyard Wrestling's had. But honestly, it was just a tragic loss, period. I'm friends with a lot of the ESW wrestlers on Facebook, and I've talked to some of them. I've talked to Joey Russo a couple times. And to me, the passing of Wicked J, man, was so unexpected. And I remember Tyler Storm sent it over a group chat. And I remember saying, I really hope this is just some sick storyline they're doing. And then I went and read it, and I found the report to it, and immediately, man, it hit me hard. Because, I knew that he had just wrestled. Hearing his story, I knew that his mother passed away a good while back. And, he had to deal with that. But honestly, what had happened was very tragic. But, now he's in a better place. He's finally with his mother. If you go back and watch Wicked Armageddon, we all had our little talks. And like I say, we didn't just lose a wrestler. We lost a friend. We lost a brother. We lost a son. We lost a good person. And there will never be another Wicked J. So.
Yeah. I definitely could agree with you 100%. His next question was, what is one dream match you hope to have? Oh, wait, my bad. If Wicked J was still with us, what dream match would you have with them and when? I would definitely take on Wicked J at Hell's Vacancy, and I could definitely see some sort of hardcore match being played there. I would definitely like to do that. No, that'd be an honor. What about you?
To me, to get to even to have those guys, even act like you're alive is is rare. But I've talked to Benjamin Garza. I've talked to him over messages one time, and honestly, man, if I'd ever got the chance to step in the ring with somebody like him, it to me would have had that feeling of Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair at Mania 24. Yeah. Like, I'm in here with a legend, and obviously it'll be the last time I would probably ever get to do that. But what happened, like I said, is a tragedy, and he'll be missed, and hopefully everybody at ESW is getting through good. I was going to say, I know where they threw him a little farewell party, and they just had the show dedicated to him. I saw some of that because Cody Rex went to it and shared some of that on his Facebook. So if I'd ever had the chance to work with him, obviously I'd have ran with it.
Now, normally we were going to end at 9, but we're going to go a little bit longer. Now, I got to ask you now, we got to cheer it up a little bit. I got another question from Angelique Stark. Whenever three, I'm just going to say one phrase and you'll understand what she's asking.
I know what you're going to say. Wait, go, what?
I'm just going to say one phrase and you'll understand her question. Yippee-ki-yay.
Yippee-ki-yay, ladies and gentlemen. Yippee-ki-yay.
Oh man. Well, guys, whenever Aaron Jones' camera turns off, or due to the lag or whatever it is, we get to work with Kurt Angle. So, in his prime. With a little straw hat and Jimmy Crack Corn, he didn't care. Now,
And
that was a great promo. Now, okay, random question from Ecstatic. Does Aaron Jones shave?
I don't know how to take that question.
Yeah, that's because
I know
then he says no homo, so it's like you're talking.
Well, I know Ecstatic was talking about having to shave because of his new gear. I'm not the kind of person who shaves my chest or anything at all. Do I shave my face? Probably once every 3 months. I can't really grow anything.
Night.
Yeah, I know, on a hangout.
Hangout, yeah.
I know, and your mother was telling you to get to the downstairs bathroom.
Yeah, she was.
But very odd question, Ecstatic. So I'm not gonna quite answer that because I don't exactly know what you mean. But if it comes to my face, about every 3 months.
Now, the next two questions, one from Joey Lake. It's a question, and the next comment from Angelique Stark. I'm going to get to that. All right. Well, Joey Lake says a question. One of you two. What if you both were to have a match together? And with that being said, Angelique Stark says that Aaron Jones would kick my ass. So,
hold on just 1 second, okay?
Of course. All right. Well, Aaron's got to do something really quick. And for those of you thinking, oh, Wicked J. Okay. Well, nonetheless, I can't even get mad at that one. So, when we get, when Aaron Jones comes back, we're going to tell some good stories real quick about the infamous speaking of which, Aaron, there was a situation that happened. You still there?
Yep, my phone fell.
Oh, okay. Now, there's a situation that happened. Myself and Cameron Jackson were on our way to the VTW arena, and we're about 20 minutes away.
And it's midnight?
Yeah, it's midnight, and we had to take a detour into a little town. And this town is known as Boone, but you got to say it a little different. So we're thinking we got to – and I'm going to tell my end of the story real quick. Me and Cameron thinking we got to get someone to say the name of this town because of the southern accent. So we're thinking, who has the deepest southern accent that we know? So we call up Aaron, and it goes to voicemail, and then you call us back. And then,
okay, hey, 1 more second, all right?
All right, no problem. So Aaron says, "Where'd y'all detour out of?" And I'm like, "Oh, we had to go to Boone." And I kid you not, when he tells you his side of the story, he says, "What? Ain't no way you coming from no damn Boone." Me and Cam lost it. We were hysterical laughing. We almost got into a car accident because Cam lost control of the wheel. It was probably the funniest part of that whole trip, and we didn't even make it to the VTW arena yet. Priceless. And that might have been one of the funniest things. And now Aaron Jones, one of Aaron Jones' own signature maneuvers, is named after that town. So, Aaron, you want to talk about Boone?
Yeah, let me tell you the real story. I go down to my old house because it's 15 minutes from VTW, and I now live beside of Boone. And Everett calls me, and he's in Hidnight, North Carolina. No, he's in Statesville.
Yes.
He's in Statesville. He's like, I'm about 15 minutes away, but we took a detour. And the actual story, he did not call me. I called them because when I heard they were taking when I heard they were in Statesville, I was like, hey, come pick me up. And he's like, yeah, dude, we took a detour. I said, where? He said, we took a detour to Boone. I said, ain't no damn way you ended up in no damn Boone. Just like that. Because I know North Carolina. I know the roads. Ain't no way. I've taken Taylorsville. Look, I've taken Taylorsville to Boone many times. It takes an hour and a half. He wasn't just in Statesville 1 minute and then Boone the next. I'm like, you didn't put in the GPS to, come to my house. And they started laughing, and I was like, these dumbasses did it on purpose. So what happens? I get to the VTW arena the next morning. Tyler Storm comes and picks me up, and the second I get there, I shake somebody's hand, and they're like, Boone, Boone, Boone. Ain't no way you ended up in no damn Boone, 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 Boone. And I'm like, I hate every one of you guys.
Oh, man. That whole weekend, we got everybody to say the name of that town. I kid you not. We were meeting up with people after VTW to all the way on the other side of North Carolina, and we got them to say Boone, and we were just thinking, we had everybody saying the name of that town, and I'm like, Cam, mission accomplished. Like, we got even
that was the first time I ever got over, and or if you can ask Corey Graves, over.
Yeah, Aver. Oh goodness.
It's like that time I wrestled Roman.
Roman. Angelique Stark actually in the comment section, ain't no damn Boone.
Ain't no way you ended up in no damn Boone. I'm gonna get a T-shirt that says that.
There you go. Now I gotta ask, because now this is gonna get interesting. Corey Graves, you mentioned him, and I know I gotta still now look. Just because I made amends, and just because I'm working things out with you, doesn't mean I'm going to be doing the same with Corey Graves. Corey Graves, there's a reason I called him out for best in the yard. See, the thing is, and it's not because it's not because I have a lack of respect. It's just that I respect you a lot. I see you as somebody that is going to be something in VTW. But Corey Graves has been on top of the mountain. And the only reason in my eyes that Corey Graves has been on the top of the mountain is because somebody like me hasn't been in APW to bring him down. And it's a reality check for Corey Graves. So what are your thoughts on APW's champion?
Corey's done a lot for, this community and backyard wrestling. But like I said last night, you look at Best in the Yard 1, nor Corey got the job done, and, it is what it is. But to me, Corey's done a lot of great things, especially lately, defeating Cage in a match no one expected to happen. I was sitting here in Boone and watching that match live on my phone, and, I saw Cage, and I was very excited. And to me, Corey Graves, we turned the little glass with the sand. We turned it upside down. The sand's about to run out. And honestly, he's only got about a teaspoon of sand left, in my opinion. So I say best in the yard is when that runs out.
I will say that, and I agree with that. Corey Graves has a lot to learn. He is a big fish in a small pond, the smallest pond in backyard wrestling. He doesn't have anything to worry about. There's no threat to his title reign. I could assure you this, and this ain't a promise. This isn't a warning. This is a spoiler. This is a guarantee. TOP has said on the last edition of Lockdown, has Creed ever held the UW World Heavyweight Championship on YouTube? And as of right now, they have said no. I say not yet, because I guarantee that at Best in the Yard 2, I will be UWE World's Heavyweight Champion. That is a promise. That is a guarantee. That is a spoiler. Now, Aaron, I have to ask you a question now. Do you believe that you will be VTW, not JHI, but VTW World's Heavyweight Champion come that very same event, Best in the Yard 2?
Yeah. I honestly do.
That's good to hear. Aaron, I want you to do me a favor real quick. If it's possible for you to turn your camera on in any way possible, because I definitely want to be able to.
My camera is on. I turned it off, turned it back on. Is it on?
No, I still got Kurt. I still got Yippee Ki
Well, I hate that. I guess my internet's being a heel.
Isn't that lovely? Well,
Actually, it's okay because we got to end this in the next couple minutes anyway.
all right. Well, Aaron, I definitely feel that you have you deserve to be the VTW World Heavyweight Champion. If there's anybody that should be taking that title off of Diablo, I do think it's you, and I do respect you for that. And that's why I just feel that, you know, whatever you do is what you do at Best in the Yard. I don't want you to face me at Best in the Yard. And the reason is not because I don't like you. I do like. That is the reason why I don't want to face you. Because I don't want you to receive the same beating that I'm going to give to Corey Gray.
Oh, that's funny.
What's funny about it? I'm being serious. I don't want you to receive the same beat. I'm gonna end Corey Graves, and Corey Graves.
Everett. If you want to be honest, yeah, I challenged you a long time ago, and you declined. But then you challenged me last night,
Look,
and I accepted, which means at Best in the Yard, it will be Everett Creed versus Corey Graves versus Aaron Jones.
Look, Aaron, I know things got out of hand last night, and I understand that. You know, that's I get that, and you know, a lot of emotions were running high. Look, half and half. Those guys like to pull the strings, and that's what they were doing last night. This is the CredeCast, and I want you to know that I don't want to do the same thing to you that I'm going to be doing to Corey Graves. Corey is not going to be able to walk out of Best in the Yard, nonetheless, be able to defend that championship ever again. I want you to continue your career in VTW. I like you, Aaron. I could see you. It was all, look, it's all been a shield. I know that you've been calling me out for Best in the Yard, and I am trying my absolute best to get you to avoid the situation. Why? Because I see something in you. But that will not continue if you are in the same ring with me at Best in the Yard. So I'm going to, one last time, I want you to reconsider this. Seriously, I want you to reconsider and maybe, you know, maybe face Big Time. I know Cameron Jackson's booked against Drew Hood. Maybe you could face Big Time Mike. Maybe you could face Jason Walker. There's a lot of people that are open for that event. If you take out Jason Walker and I take out Corey Graves, that takes APW out of the entire picture. And VTW and UW would be
Everett. I think I'm reconsidering it. You know, I don't want to lose to Everett Creed.
There you go.
But I'm not gonna lose to Everett Creed, you know? Because come Best in the Yard, Corey Graves isn't getting pinned. Everett Creed is. And Everett Creed's not getting pinned by Corey Graves. Everett Creed is getting pinned by the Blackout. Because the match is official, Everett. There's no turning back now. And I'm going to say one final thing, and I'm going to leave. And I'm never going to come back. Your supremacy is mine.
Yes. You think you're better than me?